Live from the sold-out Eldritch Mansion, situated between two mysteriously deserted bookstores. Through the horrifying cobwebbed foyer, into the secret passage that is so secret that it opens automatically as we approach, like a door at a supermarket. Through the completely unlocked basement, our bloodshot eyeballs bear frightening witness to the bottomless void and topless gentleman's establishment of hell. Hold on to your souls and prepare to die at the first annual Renegade Cuts Bram Stoker's Hollow Scream Spook-Dankular. In the 1980s, the world was introduced to a new and terrifying foe, a monster that preyed on the innocent and warped the minds of children. President Ronald Reagan. In 1981, Reagan appointed Mark Fowler as the head of the Federal Communications Commission. Their plan? Remove as many protections for children as possible. Since the late 60s, the hosts of children's shows were forbidden from advertising during the program, and commercials needed to be preceded by a message that it was a commercial. After these messages, "We'll be right back." Reagan loved capitalism as much as he hated children, and a plague of action figures masquerading as aspirational heroes infected the American child forever. In 1988, shortly after President Reagan's brain was replaced with an unsolved Rubik's Cube, horror director icon Tom Holland and fledgling screenwriter Don Mancini gave the world Child's Play. Mancini's father worked in advertising his whole life. Recognizing the hazardous effect of children's advertising, Mancini wrote Child's Play to criticize this practice. The bloody antagonist of Child's Play, Chucky, is a serial killer disguised as a toy. The film is about as subtle as the commercialism it is satirizing. But enough about the politics of this horror franchise that would eventually see Chucky assassinate the President of the United States of America. Let's watch Chucky try to murder a police officer. Let's watch Child's Play. Even before he became plastic and fantastic, Chucky was notorious and was more commonly known by his real name, Charles Lee Ray. The writers of Child's Play named the serial killer after three notorious men: cult leader Charles Manson, presidential assassin Lee Harvey Oswald, and Patsy James Earl Ray. The fictional Charles Lee Ray was known as the Lakeshore Strangler, a serial killer of some renown. Once the police or the media give you a name, that's when you know you've made it as a serial killer. That's when you get your Wikipedia page. There are no citizen detectives desperately seeking out the whereabouts of murderers named James Johnson or John Jameson. But everyone and their shut-in, crime-obsessed grandmother is hot on the trail of Meatface, the Colorado cannibal. If Charles Lee Ray operated in this decade, there would be at least 7 dedicated true crime podcasts about him. There would be an HBO miniseries immediately after his death, detailing his childhood and ascribing surprisingly likable qualities to him. And there would be a second miniseries following his preternatural resurrection, distancing itself from the tone of the first miniseries. Charles Lee Ray is portrayed by the eminent character actor Brad Dourif, famous for playing creeps, freaks, weirdos, creepos, freakos, creep freaks, and Dr. Warren Overman from Murder, She Wrote. Dourif is so prolific that he has made guest appearances in professional wrestling, first in 1998 for World Championship Wrestling, and again in 2021 for World Wrestling Entertainment. Since 2001, WWE has owned WCW. I see no reason why Mr. Dourif cannot be added to the celebrity wing of the WWE Hall of Fame. He would be precisely as legitimate as any other inductee. At the beginning of the first film, when the heat is on and the heat is also too spicy, Charles uses voodoo to transfer his soul into a good guy's doll. This is why Toys R Us went bankrupt. In defiance of his moniker, Chucky performs precious little strangling throughout the film series. He leaps onto his victims and grabs them from time to time, sure, but his teeny-weeny hands prevent him from living up to his epithet. Chucky could still use a garrote, a noose, an extension cord, but now that he is rebranded as a doll, he must have concluded that it was time to diversify his portfolio. Nothing like a good explosion kill to let everyone know that you have shifted out of your previous paradigm. Andy Barclay is obsessed with good guys due to the power of television advertising. His mother, desperate to please her son but living on a limited budget, buys what is almost certainly a hot good guy's doll from a homeless man. And what do you know? It's Chucky! Chucky spends his time in the first movie trying to escape from a prison of his own making. To do this, he must transfer his soul into the body of Andy Barclay. Chucky told Andy his secret, and that marks Andy as the only potential new host body. If Chucky can't do this in time, he will be confined to his doll form forever, or at least until a factory recall. These are the rules of Voodoo, except not really. Voodoo is a proper religion practiced in Haiti and in the United States, especially in Louisiana. Both Haitian Voodoo and Louisiana Voodoo are derived from older traditions in Africa, and both forms are syncretic religions with ties to Christianity, particularly Catholicism. Voodoo in popular culture focuses on the spooky, scary aspects, but Voodoo practice is no more or less supernatural than Christianity, Judaism, or most other faiths. The focus on Voodoo being dark and alien is a byproduct of racism and a long-standing American disdain for Haiti for having the audacity to reject white supremacy so fully and so successfully. In Child's Play, Chucky's voodoo guru is horrified by this misuse of voodoo. Damballa, the entity that Chucky invokes to perform his magic, is actually a creator spirit, not some devil. Once again, white people have appropriated black culture with disastrous effects. Charles Lee Ray is pursued by Detective Mike Norris, played by another horror icon, Chris Sarandon, who starred in Fright Night, Whispers, and Tales from the Crypt, Bordello of Blood. He is also the voice of Jack Skellington from Kingdom Hearts. Andy's mother, Karen, is played by now retired actor Catherine Hicks, famous for her role in Seventh Heaven, which was horror only in hindsight. Chucky eventually lets his mask slip, and after 2 fake-outs and 3 death scenes, Chucky is finally laid to rest. Until the sequel. In Child's Play 2, Andy's mother has been institutionalized for her belief in Chucky, which thrusts Andy into foster care. The Good Guy Company is unsatisfied with the downward sales trend following the scandal, but rather than simply cutting their losses and moving on to the Tickle Me Elmo, their team fixes the doll to prove that it's safe and to sell more toys. Chucky is accidentally resurrected to wreak havoc on American children once more. Child's Play 2 is shot in a stylized, deep-focus child's perspective, hypnotizing the predominantly adult audience into the helpless feeling of being a kid. This is when all of the biggest and most damaging traumas happen, the traumas that haunt us forever and shape our relationships as grown-ups. We cannot help but imagine how these events will affect Andy and his life going forward. Andy is not helpless, though. In the first film, he defiantly roasts Chucky alive. In Child's Play 2, he continues to fight back, all the way to the Good Guy Factory. This is their fault, and it's their mess to clean up. With the help of new big sister Kyle, Chucky is once again graphically annihilated.
Until the sequel.
Child's Play 3 takes place 8 years after the events of the previous film, but was released less than 1 year later. The movie assembly line strikes again. Years after the discontinuation of the now infamous doll, the Good Guy Company, a subsidiary of Weyland-Yutani, reintroduces their signature toy to the market.
One of the hardest things about this business is that it is a business. Doesn't matter what we're selling, whether it's cars, nuclear weapons, or yes, even toys. The bottom line is the bottom line. And what are children, after all, but consumer trainees?
Chucky is once again given a new lease on life because of this bottom line. He continues to stalk Andy, who is now 16 years old and attending a military academy. Once Chucky arrives on the scene, he realizes that now that he has a new body, he can tell someone else his secret and transfer his soul into a new child instead, a kid named Tyler. Chucky is just making up voodoo as he goes. Hey, Andrew Robinson! Garrick from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, welcome to the party. The Lakeshore Strangler sets up more non-strangulation murders by replacing the just pretend paintball rounds with live ammunition. How this gets Chucky any closer to transferring his soul to Tyler is anybody's guess. Feels more like a side quest. Now, to me, it seems like Chucky does not actually want to transfer his soul because it shouldn't be this difficult, right? In the first 2 movies, Chucky tells Andy what's going on, and spends a lot of time murdering various people and waiting for the right moment to ask Damballa for a favor. And then he tells his secret to someone new in Child's Play 3, but not right before beginning the incantation. Chucky tells Tyler while they're alone, sure, but with people in the next room, and without any restraints. Chucky consistently tries to do this in homes with parents and babysitters, and now a military school with roommates and soldiers roaming around at all time. Chucky performs a lot of unforced errors and creates speed bumps for himself that slow down his progress towards his goal. It's simple. Kidnap one victim. Isolate the victim.
Restrain the victim.
Tell the victim your secret, and then play hide the soul. Chucky keeps doing this in the wrong order, telling the victim the secret and then trying to figure out the next step and hoping he has enough time before he's stuck in the body. I would be a much better supernatural serial killer than this guy is all I'm saying. Chucky needs to get his act together. Andy feels responsible for Tyler, and together they toss Chucky into a spinning fan in a dark ride at a carnival. Andy is arrested for doing the right thing, fuck the police, and Chucky is no more.
Until the sequel.
Bride of Chucky was released in 1998. If Child's Play 3 takes place 8 years after Child's Play 2, then Bride of Chucky takes place in the same year as Child's Play 3. Now that's turnaround. Chucky barely spent any time in hell playing poker with Adolf Hitler and Mother Teresa. This go-around, Chucky is joined by his former accomplice, Tiffany, unmentioned until this point. I appear to be losing...
This is for Tupac.
Hitting motherfuckers up when we pass by until I die. Live the life of a boss player, cause even when I'm high, fuck with me and get crossed later. The future's in my eye. Bitches pursue me like a dream. Been known to disappear before your eyes. It's like a mischievous ass screaming thug life. Every time they pass, all eyes on me. Live the life of a boss player, all eyes on me.
Seed of Chucky is the first film in the series directed by Don Mancini. The Child's Play movies were always pretty gay, but have now graduated to full-fledged, iconic LGBT horror franchise. Chucky and Tiffany have a child named Glenn, or Glenda, a reference to the Ed Wood film. John Waters has a supporting role in this movie. In Seed of Chucky, Jennifer Tilly is starring in a movie about Chucky. At this point, the world of Child's Play is simply aware of the existence of Chucky the Killer Doll and has decided to make some money off of the series of gruesome murders. Jennifer Tilly wants to play the Virgin Mary in a movie directed by Redman, and this is exactly as recalculous as it sounds. The franchise at this point is now fully horror comedy. The first film was actually scary enough that Stick in the Mud Roger Ebert praised it during his review, even though Stickier in the Muddier Gene Siskel did not. Bride of Chucky is more comedy than horror, and Seed of Chucky is simply impossible to take seriously, and that is why it's great. And what do you know? Somebody must have been listening because Chucky declares that he is comfortable being a killer doll. I knew it! Subconsciously, I think Chucky was merely self-sabotaging himself with all that slow-moving hide-the-soul nonsense from the original trilogy. Glenn and Glenda become separate individuals. Chucky is finally dead. Until the end of the movie when Chucky's arm pops up and actually tries to strangle someone. Back to basics for the Lakeshore Strangler. Back to his roots. Good for him. Seed of Chucky was the last film in the main continuity to have a theatrical release. Following its release, the murderous franchise saw several twists and turns. 2 direct-to-video sequels directed by Don Mancini, a reboot unauthorized by Mancini and created through shared rights to the original film, and a television series that was really good. But these are tales for another day, and another video in the future. Good fright, boils and ghouls. Remember to check your Halloween candy for edibles, and then give them to me.
Hi everyone. If you want to support what I do, please like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment under this video. I also have a Patreon at patreon.com/renegadecut. I'll see you soon.